Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. First tonight, thousands of Tasmanians woke in the early hours of this morning to then stand in solidarity with our servicemen and women on this Anzac Day. Dawn services held across the state, a chance for many to pay their respects to the fallen and honour the sacrifices made to bring conflict to an end. Grace Evans begins our Anzac Day coverage.
A single shining light as dawn creeps in. Sombre silence fell over Hobart's cenotaph.
Not only the lives lost then, but how we live now.
Remembering the legacy of those who fought for our country, Tasmanians gathered to acknowledge the bravery of servicemen and women.
Celebrating the actual landing at Gallipoli, and then remembering what they suffered in their own experience, and then remembering that, I think, is really powerful.
An honourable task for the bugle players assigned to sound the last post.
I get a lot of honour in sort of providing that experience to the people who've turned up to the service.
Wearing their medals with pride, a new generation of veterans reflect on their time.
I got my medals here, and these were for when I went over to Afghan in 2017.
The importance of their sacrifices living on today in Launceston's Royal Park.
A day of meaning and reflection for all of us in many different ways.
I was very proud to serve my country, and I think we really need to continue it.
Words from church grammar student and refugee Godsway Williams, a standout.
As a younger person myself, it's near impossible to comprehend a life where death of loved ones during a rampant war is normalised.
The littlest of community members showing their respect.
Understand those that have fallen to make sure that we have a free country like this. And that's, if people go away with that message, then we've done our job.
More than 100 events are held across the state to honour our fallen diggers in what's a particularly special return for the services after enduring a 2-year pandemic hiatus.
It's great to be in that position post-COVID.
As mentions of conflict in Ukraine called for a true end to all war.
We remember with compassion all who suffer as a result of war.
Grace Evans, 7 Tasmania News.
Clinking medals and a chorus of marching bands reverberated through the streets in a harmonious tribute to those who served. While the fallen were always front of mind, today's services also helped unite Tasmanian families and old mates.
From those who fought in the Vietnamese jungle came a rumble of respect. Still, the street shook as scores of servicemen and women and those marching in their memory walked in lockstep in the state's 2 largest parades, Launceston and Hobart. Those hoping for the best view anchored themselves to vantage points. Applause was only drowned out by the tune of Waltzing Matilda. A day for Tasmania's 10,500 veterans and ex-servicemen and women to reflect.
I lost a few friends in Vietnam, so I just always remember on this day.
It's a day that I would not miss.
My father's. See, he's getting emotional. His father's and mine.
Anzac Day stirs so many emotions in us all. The annual march is a timeless reminder of the spirit and sacrifice of the diggers, giving us the freedoms we enjoy today.
And whilst the conspicuous bravery of Sheehan, Baird, Murray and many others is inspiring, it would be remiss of us not to remember those who returned scarred, physically, mentally and in other ways.
Wreaths were placed on the cenotaph, the ode recited, before those most stirring of tributes, the last post and the rouse. As As we remember the fallen, Anzac Day also brings people together. For guest speaker, Captain Lisa Batchelor, it's provided a rare reunion with her Tasmanian family.
Tasmania holds a special place in my heart, and it's always lovely to come back, and especially to bring back the uniform and to speak at Anzac Day is a real privilege.
And for old mates to share stories at RSLs. Peter Tonkin had just won an Australian championship in breaststroke when he was called up for national service during the Vietnam War.
You had a choice, you go in or you go to jail, so I chose to go in. But I met some great people, I really did.
While fellow serviceman Steve Martin shares his birthday with Anzac Day.
Went to Vietnam, to Nui Dat, there with engineers.
And at Westbury. A Royal Australian Air Force flyover added a touch of theatre. Fittingly, Westbury's memorial is flanked by rosemary, which grows in abundance at Gallipoli, one of the many towns across Tasmania dedicating this day to those who served. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
Well, Tasmania has recorded fewer than 1,000 COVID cases for the second consecutive day. 867 new infections were reported overnight, a drop on yesterday's figures. Case numbers in the state have now been trending downwards for 5 days in a row. 43 people are in hospital with the virus. 1 person remains in intensive care. Scott Roth believes the JackJumpers have what it takes to go all the way to the NBL Grand Final. The words of encouragement come as the franchise makes history, qualifying for the playoffs in their inaugural season.
A brotherly embrace off the court, the JackJumpers' dream lives on, officially sealing their spot in the finals lineup. Their fate was decided last night thanks to the South Melbourne Phoenix holding out in a thrilling overtime match against the Perth Wildcats.
Had to put me through another 5 minutes playing time, I guess, but it felt like 30 minutes sitting there.
I don't know what else to say other than just being proud. It's just been, a joy to be around them. They've worked extremely hard on and off the floor.
That work rate even turning the heads of the team they've eliminated.
They're the hardest team in the league right now, so with all due respect to the other 3 teams, wish them the best of luck moving forward.
Fans took to social media to share their delight. Former Premier and mega fan David Bartlett showing his pride for the Green Army, with others just in disbelief at the turn of events.
Hugged my son, hugged my wife, and we kind of sat down. We're like, "Are we in? Are we still in?" And it took a little bit to sink in.
Even the smallest of ants were jumping with joy. A milestone moment for the entire NBL competition, having welcomed the inaugural Tasmanian outfit with open arms.
The JackJumpers are actually the first team to finish in the top 4 of the competition in their first season, so it's a remarkable achievement.
There was a bounce in their step as training resumed this morning. They now head north to meet United once again in a best-of-3 semi-finals series.
I think they all believed that they were going to play again, and they were still in that mindset. And when we came in this morning, they were just re-locked into moving forward.
The man at the helm confident his side have the recipe for success.
They're good enough to beat anybody at any time, and when you go to Melbourne, expect to win and don't think anything else other than that.
Tickets to Saturday's big dance go on sale this Wednesday. Grace Evans, 7 Tasmania News.
Concerns for a missing 13-year-old girl's welfare are growing after she was last seen at a Shearwater property yesterday afternoon. Isabella Cooper hasn't been heard from since. Tasmania Police is urging anyone who has seen her to come forward. A Bruny Island rescuee is waddling to freedom just in time for World Penguin Day. The Bonorong Wildlife Hospital took Mercy, the little penguin, into its care after receiving public concerns about his condition. X-rays and blood tests found the patient was underweight and dehydrated.
He was basically cleared to spend about a week's time here at the sanctuary with our wildlife keeper team to help rehabilitate him and fatten him up.
The team is relieved having returned Mercy back into his natural habitat for a second chance. The final surviving Gallipoli veteran, Launceston's Alec Campbell, has been recognised ahead of today's Anzac Day clash. The cup named in his honour was on the line in the game between Hawthorn and Sydney. The 2 teams joined the crowd in observing Anzac Day traditions, including the last post and a moment of silence ahead of their match at UTAS Stadium.
At the going down of the sun,
and in the morning, we will remember them.
For the first time, Hawthorn wore a specially designed Guernsey in honour of past players who have served. In a unique spin on Anzac Day, the next generation has been given a crash course in our nation's history. It was one of many events held around the state, while others honoured those who fought with a pint and an iconic Australian game.
Community spirit was in the air as hundreds of people gathered in Lena Valley for the 5th Anzac Day in the Park event.
The Anzac Day story is so important for our country, but we need ways for families, for little kids and others to get involved and not just be standing on the sidelines.
The local RSL hosted a dawn service in addition to its day event before participants moseyed across the street for an Anzac history lesson with a twist.
We've got things like a donkey ride and the story of Simpson. We've got poppy making.
A fresh take on remembering those who paid the ultimate sacrifice.
Let's families, let's parents and grandparents explain to their kids the significance of a day like today.
Meanwhile, punters took to their local, whipping out their wallets for a game of the Anzac Classic 2 Up and spending the afternoon with loved ones.
It's about catching up with everyone, commemorating what we did when we were young kids.
Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
The TSL has joined Anzac Day commemorations. North Hobart Oval hosted the clash between the Demons and Lauderdale, with the league putting on its own acknowledgement. Harry Richmond got Lauderdale on the board early before Sam Stiggins chimed in with 3 majors. Lauderdale overcame a half-time deficit to win 11-9-75 to the D's 7-14-56. Hobart's Jack Welch has joined a goal-scoring feast, opening the floodgates for the Kookaburras in the demolition of Malaysia.
It's gone off the back of the stick of Jack Welch. It's a very good finish by Welch.
He backed up later in the game with his second goal. Australia went on to win 7-0. Peter Siddles pulled out a special performance for Somerset. The Tasmanian Tigers paceman took 6 for 51 against Surrey as he swaps from the Sheffield Shield competition to county cricket in the UK. The 37-year-old has taken 13 wickets in just 3 county matches this season at an average of 14.15. Riverside Olympic product Nathaniel Atkinson's helping find the back of the net in the Scottish Premiership. Playing for Hearts, Atkinson fired the ball across the face of goal, setting up teammate Liam Boyce to punch the ball into the sweet spot. Hearts went on to beat Dundee United 3-2, Atkinson playing the full 90 minutes. 28 points to Braden Cowell has helped Tasmania claim bronze in the Ivor Burge Under-18 Championship for basketballers with an intellectual disability. The local players outclassed Western Australia in Mackay, winning 105-48. The Huon Valley's Daniel Watkins has defended his national canoe title at Brady's Lake in the Central Highlands. The Tokyo Olympian claimed gold in a flawless run which saw no penalties and a 7-second buffer over the silver medalist. Watkins has spent some time on dry land, mountain biking and running since the Olympics, but took to the water with ease, also winning bronze in the men's kayak. Meanwhile, Hobart's Demelza Wall also paddled her way to the podium, claiming silver in the women's canoe. Hobart driver Josh Burdens had a tough time at Germany's Nürburgring. Competing in a 4-hour race at the famous track, Burden's car was collected by a rival, causing damage and wiping out his team's strong start. He's still eyeing a win in the upcoming 24-hour race. The North West Coast Jed Beaton has been sidelined from the motocross GP as he tries to recover from a shoulder injury. The problem's been nagging the Kawasaki ace since crashing in Mantova, Italy in early March. He's already missed the last round in Latvia with no guarantee for when he'll return.
Good evening. 18 in Launceston today, 17 across Burnie and Devonport, Hobart 14. 19 was the state's top about King Island and St Helens, Lyowini 17 and 15 in Strawn. On the close-up shows extensive low cloud about the Midlands and parts of the west, north and south. Further out, extensive middle to high level cloud is seen over South Australia, Queensland and New South Wales. Tomorrow shows the high moving to the east of Tasmania while a trough persists over central areas. East to north easterly winds tomorrow 5 to 15 knots, swells up to 3 metres in the west and south and below 1 metre in the north. Tomorrow's forecast now: Hobart and Adventure Bay partly cloudy, 17 in Tarraleah. In the north, Launceston 21, a shower or two in Devonport, Bridport 20. Burnie tomorrow 18, partly cloudy across Strawn and Marrawar. St Helens and Swansea 18 and partly cloudy in Whitemark. Looking ahead to the 3-day forecast now. Wednesday, showers about the north extending to central and eastern districts during the afternoon. Thursday, showers across the north and east. And Friday, showers about the north and west extending statewide. Capital cities 21 and showers in Perth tomorrow. Sydney a shower or two and 34 in Darwin. And currently Hobart 13, Launceston mostly cloudy and Devonport 14 and mostly cloudy. That's all in weather tonight, Kim.
Okay, thanks very much, Jackie. And that wraps up your news for Anzac Day 2022. Thanks for your company tonight. On behalf of the entire team here at 7 Tas, good night.